keeping it real today, talking to real weight loss success stories with Nutrisystem.
First of all, I've lost 20 pounds. Second of all, it's given me a new outlook on life.
I'm feeling the energy to wake up in the morning and jump out of bed.
It's a high-protein, science-backed plan. Oh.
Okay, we're with you guys. I was getting everything set up and pushed out on social media and that kind of thing. It's 12-5 Ole Miss top 8th. What we'll do is we'll talk about this game a little bit. And then Chase is going to hop on Bianco's Zoom, and then we'll talk about what he said about Gunnar Hoglund. Mostly, that's the big story. And we'll talk about this game, and if you guys want to call in, we'll take calls as well. It's a routine fly ball to right on a day when the ball's been jumping out of the park.
Yeah, Frizzell got all of that one a minute ago, but like Graham kind of sliced that in the corner, and it got out of there.
Yeah, off his bat, I had that on at my parents' house, and off his bat, I thought that was a fly ball to left, and it just kept going. Tawny Katane dead at the age of 59. That's unreal. NFL schedule release on Wednesday. We'll do a Thursday night show. We'll talk NFL schedules that night and other stuff.
A&M has a horrendously bad bullpen, so almost getting into that. You're not ever going to blame an offense for losing a game 9-8 on Friday night in the SEC, but A&M being able to get through Ole Miss's lineup those 3 innings in relief last night really does kind of sting, considering what else was going on for the Rebels and trying to steal that one after Hoagland's excellent.
Yeah, the Tim Elko home run was a really cool moment.
Really cool moment. You can DH him. There's no problems there. I'm sorry, he can pinch hit. He can't run enough to start a game because as soon as he got on, he would have to come out.
Yeah. If you did DH him, you'd have to try to figure a spot in the lineup where you would just say, hey, look, if you hit it,
you're just out.
You're out. Yeah, you're not trying to – you've got to make sure that you –
And I don't know if that makes sense. Well,
what you concern yourself with is that a guy like him tries to beat a ground ball to third.
And does mess up something. If that's possible, I have no clue.
Appreciate everyone's patience today. Originally, we were going to do this entire game, but I had something else, and I had gotten the times wrong. I thought it was a 10 o'clock thing, but it was a noon thing. So he's definitely a hell of a bat off the bench, as Kenneth says. He
gives you one pinch hit button a game. I mean,
it's certainly possible that in 2 or 3 weeks he's moving a little bit better and that maybe you could possibly do something with it. There's a hit by pitch.
The train is – you hear the train a lot.
Goes right through campus like that?
Yeah, I mean. Obviously, the injury changing things a little bit with Hoglund. But Hoglund and Casey, I was thinking about it on the way over here. Last year just completely kind of stole what was, from a career standpoint, comparing them to so many other guys that have come through. You know, I've gotten the question a lot with Hoglund, how good is he? Where do you rank him? Where do you put him? All that kind of stuff. It's just so hard to say when you've got a canceled season, a season now where we don't know how it's going to finish, and then a freshman year where he was still trying to find himself. He has not been completely healthy through an entire year that has played out at his 100% capability. A little less of that with Nikhazy because of the postseason moments he's had and everything like that, but still, last year just taking so much away from a career standpoint of really knowing what to do with him. But I mean, as far as just a competitor and a battler and all the cliches you want to use, somebody you just want out there if you got to win one baseball game, he's pretty damn high up the list. I mean, he's top 3 or 4 from an Ole Miss standpoint of guys that I've covered, and I think it's probably top 3 when you discuss like the attitude and kind of the way he dominates a game. Because I mean, he was a little off there early, and then once that third inning, I think he retired like 16 in a row or something before the inning got away from him there in the 7th.
And Ginger does ask a good question. Why not just hit a home run every time?
Then you could play him.
I mean,
he could.
If he hit 4 home runs every game.
If you could guarantee nothing but home runs and fly balls, then hey.
Well, frankly, you just tell him swing for the fences most of the time.
Swing as hard as you can
And
swing.
if you strike out, you strike out.
Yeah, that's true. Sound logic.
Well, if the rest of your lineup is going pretty good, you could hit something like that in the 7 hole and see what happens.
The 3-hour mark in the top of the 8th.
Robert wants to know if you would have pulled Doug right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's had a bunch of pitches at that point.
Doug was politicking. He was trying to stay in the game.
Which is going to lead into a conversation we'll have in a little bit.
In case he throws 112 pitches. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't.
Hey, do you want to give him one more? Here's the problem. There's only one out. If there's 2 outs, but you go, all right, fine, you get one more.
But he was going to ask for one more after one more. I mean,
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like you go, hey, okay, if you can get the next guy out, come in the dugout, we'll pat you on the tail, and we'll move on with our day.
Sure.
But when you need 2 outs, nah. Oh, never mind. He only did one out. Okay. I'd have been contemplating one more batter, but whatever. I have no problems either way.
The problem with the one more batter is that he fouls 2 or 3 off.
And suddenly he's 124.
Yeah, and now you've – yeah.
Nikhazy goes 6.2 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, all 4 earned, 2 on that Frizzell home run there in the 7th. 9 strikeouts, 3 walks, 1 hit by pitch, a double, 6 flyouts, 5 groundouts, 112 pitches, 77 strikes.
Travis wants to know if you would have pinch hit for Baker last night in the 9th.
Harris would have made some sense there. Mike's still doing some lefty-righty stuff with some of those freshmen. You know, just, to me, hit the best guy. I'm kind of a mix on where I find analytics and sabermetrics versus just traditional ways of managing and operating games. But especially at the college level, the lefty-righty thing just doesn't do much for me at all. Just play my best hitters, and we'll take a shot at it. Especially when it's, well, let's make sure the left-hander hits against the right-hander. Everybody sees right-handed pitching in high school. Just go hit.
Lots of it.
Yeah. The right-handed good hitter has seen plenty of right-handed pitching. Like, he'll figure it out.
And probably been able to hit it, or else he wouldn't be in that uniform.
So it's all good.
I think coaches sometimes overthink.
Well, and I mean,
They jack the commercials up, don't they?
Another one that's dumb that I thought was an interesting thing today was Doug catching a foul ball. If it's not on the mound, let the pitcher just catch the stupid pop-up. If it's not on the mound. You don't want him to trip on the mound, but if it's just in the infield, let the pitcher catch it.
Can we not talk about that being some athletic play? I mean, that is a routine play that was turned into an athletic play.
Well, that's my point. I mean, Doug needs to just go catch that ball if he doesn't run into the runner. And the one that Doug did catch earlier, Dunhurst is having to spin around without a real glove on. Like, Doug, you played outfield for Team USA. Just catch the ball that's in the air. Okay? Thanks. Let's move on.
But in that moment, when you see people charging around and Nikhazy's in the middle of it, you get a little concerned that at this point you just want him to get out of the way.
Do you think that's the big part of it is hey, don't get run into. Just go wherever. And
yeah, probably at this point I'm telling him just let them figure it out.
Well, because Colin pointed out on Twitter, it happened to Broadway the other day. There was kind of a pop-up like that. Broadway was sort of in the area to just kind of catch it, and Baker almost knocked him over trying to call him off and get him out of the way. And it's can everybody just chill out?
Yeah.
Somebody call the ball. Arkansas would like to have one of those back right now.
Do you make anything of Jack Leiter getting pulled
I haven't
today?
talked to anybody about that. I don't know. Probably not yet. I think it's extreme caution. They've run him up a few times this year. Tim might have been just really, given a break there, take some pitches off the overall arm. But you do have to think he had some kind of issue during the week.
That's what I think. I think something happened.
Yeah. Even if he just didn't feel perfect, just something to kind of
saw something in a bullpen that they didn't like. It's my guess.
Yeah.
Because you're not asking the kid. Kids like him never.
He's the worst person to ask.
They're the worst source.
Well, except to Doug. How you good? Yeah, I'm great. Hand me the ball.
Yeah.
Go away.
Because if it were up to Doug, his pitch count would be 207. I mean, he just, they're never taking themselves out. That's not the way they're wired.
Leiter is draft eligible this year, yes.
Yes.
He's projected currently to be the number 2 overall pick. In that same projection, Gunnar Hoglund was picked 8th to the Rockies. Mock draft from May 5th. Yeah, Leiter number 2 to the Rangers. Leiter has surrendered 8 home runs in the last 3 weeks. And interesting enough, this is 3 days ago. So a little foreshadowing here, if you will, maybe a premonition from a scout standpoint. The paragraph on MLB.com, after taking college baseball by storm with a no-hitter in his first SEC start and 7 no-hit innings in his second, Leiter has surrendered 8 home runs in the last 3 weeks as scouts wonder how he'll hold up under by far the biggest workload he's ever had.
Yep. That's why the whole thing about he's going to get drafted and go straight to the bigs this summer. No, he's going to get drafted and get shut down.
Rocker, number 4 to the Red Sox. Rocker's velocity dips in the low 90s for 3 weeks early in the season, but the draft's most physical pitcher has performed consistently well and outperformed Leiter. I still come back to it. I mean, I talked about it on the podcast. That 73 pitch outing last week with Gunnar, interesting. I don't know.
It was really interesting.
It had an antenna up.
That he comes out of that.
Okay with it.
Someone saw something.
Yeah.
Just pulling up some scores from around the league. Florida leads Kentucky 3-0 in the bottom of the third. Alabama and Vanderbilt getting started top first, no score.
Mm-hmm.
LSU leads Auburn 1-0 in the top of the first at Auburn. Tennessee and Missouri at 3 o'clock today. Mississippi State's at South Carolina. That game's also at 3 o'clock. And then tonight, Georgia is at Arkansas. That game's a 6 o'clock start. I know Arkansas beat Georgia last night. Who won the Mississippi State-South Carolina game?
Mississippi State hammered South Carolina
Really?
last night, 9-0 at one point. I don't know if that was a final or not, but yeah, the Bulldogs just absolutely popped the Gamecocks last night. South Carolina's at a mess from a host standpoint. I think they got to win 2 in a row to have any chance, just for the way their situation looked. Yeah, last night Florida comes back, beats Kentucky. They were down to their very last swing to lose. They hit a home run.
Florida
with 2
did.
outs in the ninth to go ahead of Kentucky. They went 8-5. Mississippi State 9, South Carolina nothing. Vanderbilt had to shake off an early scare, but beats Alabama 9-6 last night. Rocker had a very interesting stat line. So 3 innings last night. Rocker had given up 3 runs on 4 hits with 10 strikeouts and no walks. So he had struck out 10 through 3 innings last night. Tennessee 5-4 over Missouri last night. Tigers played pretty well, but lose at home to the Vols. LSU beats Auburn 9-6 last night, and then Arkansas 3-0 over the Georgia Bulldogs last night.
Tennessee just about cementing a national seed at this point.
I mean, they
It's
can't
hard
go
to sort
0-6 to close in those 2 tough series, but I'm not sure how tough Carolina is right now. I mean, they're kind of faltering a little bit.
2-4 might be enough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. You're just trying not to lay an egg, is all
Yeah.
it is at that point.
Yeah, Tennessee and Vanderbilt both 15-7. Florida 14-9. South Carolina 11-11. Kentucky 11-12. Georgia 10-12. Missouri 5-17. Arkansas 16-6. Mississippi State 15-7. Ole Miss closing in on 14-9. Alabama's 11-11, LSU 9-14, Texas A&M about to fall to 6-17 it looks like, and then Auburn is 5-18. He struck out 4 in the first inning, so he got a strikeout, but the ball got away from the catcher, so the runner reached. That's how he did that in the first. He threw 13 pitches in the first inning to strike out 4.
All 13 pitches were strikes.
Yeah,
he did not throw a ball.
Don't have a lot of margin for error at that point.
No. This is true. He can hit again. consistent day up and down the order, but Graham, the only Rebel that's had a really, really big day. Justin Bench, 2 for 3, but no RBIs. He has scored 3 times. Kevin Graham, 2 for 5, 2 runs, 2 RBIs, including the home run. Graham now hitting 339 on the season. Bench hitting 335. Ole Miss entered the weekend leading the SEC in OPS.
Well, I was thinking about last night, beyond the pitching deal, was you score 8 runs on a Friday in the SEC, you should win. Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, you had the game tied in A&M's bullpen. That's where you got to win a baseball game because their bullpen is horrifically bad. Now, they did start throwing guys they've been throwing in rotation a little bit to try to win a game last night. A&M sort of went for one. I have no problem at all with Mike sticking with Doherty there in the ninth and not going to Broadway because Ole Miss doesn't score and suddenly Broadway's thrown 60 pitches in 3 innings and you know what I mean? Like you end up burning a guy for nothing at that point. I don't have a problem with that. Doherty had retired 18 in a row from a multi-game standpoint prior to that home run. And clearly Frizzell's hitting them against everybody right now.
Yeah, the one he hit a minute ago was almost went over the railroad tracks.
It was pretty.
Yeah, it had launch angle.
Yeah. It's a good park at A&M. It has an odd look, and I don't know what I don't like about it, but there's something I don't really like about it. It looks like I'm not a huge Alex Box fan, but I know exactly what I don't like. It looks unfinished. Alex Box has so many like those steel poles and all the openings and stuff. It looks like an erector set that nobody ever filled in anywhere.
Big Ben says, y'all watching Saturday Night Live tonight. Elon Musk is hosting. It's his first time he'll watch in 3 years.
If you'd like to show me tomorrow morning, I'll be happy to see some clips.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not staying up to watch.
I'm interested because I love how some of the actors and actresses have been given safe spaces this weekend and this week and stuff as they prepare the show. But none of that will come across in the Saturday night production. I'm more interested in sort of reading the behind-the-scenes stuff later. F. Webb says, with Broadway completely rested, how early can you go to him tomorrow? Like, what?
As soon as there's
sixth
trouble,
inning? Yeah, you go to him.
Use him
when you need him.
There is no tomorrow. Just
yeah.
The Rocky said that. No, it was Apollo that said that. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Was that Apollo?
It's when he was yelling at him on the beach.
Oh, yeah, right before kind of their erotic scene.
Yeah.
Rocky says, I'll do it tomorrow, and he goes, there is no tomorrow.
Yeah, it's when Adrian's like, he stops running, and they get into it, and he's like,
yeah.
And then later they have the really.
Well, he learns how to run on the beach.
He does.
Yeah. And he finally beats Apollo, and then they kind of have their.
That's pretty impressive. You go from very uncoordinated and can't run on the beach at all to outrunning Apollo on the beach in like
a world championship boxer
in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
How long are we training here? A month, maybe.
A month tops.
Okay.
Because they left the kid with the robot back in Philly. Both parents left the kid for a month to go train.
And Polly was with them too.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't want Polly keeping.
No,
the kid
you
anyway.
wouldn't want Polly. Yeah, because that would just I guess the maid. The help.
It's like a black hole, the Rocky timeline. I mean, they go to Russia for Christmas and come back, and the kid is 8 years older.
Yeah.
He goes from maybe like 10, 11 to in high school.
Yeah.
Because he beats up a fat Kevin Connolly in Rocky V.
Well, sometimes you have to suspend belief.
I mean, they took continuity and went, hell, nobody cares.
The kid didn't have to be part of that. That was the thing.
In which one?
In damn near any of them.
Well, he was a huge plot line in Rocky V.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, they taught him how to street box. He beat up the bully.
Yeah.
He was getting his lunch. Also, come on. Rocky's kid is getting his lunch money taken.
Yeah, come on. Come on.
I mean, come on.
Genetics. Come on. Oh, Elko's up.
0-2 count. He probably didn't
You're
have a lot
not
of
protecting
adrenaline
here.
left.
You're just swinging. Oof.
Oh, yeah, there is no, hey, punch a ball through a hole
No,
right
no,
here.
no.
No. We're,
Yeah, he's not up to bunt.
No, he is absolutely the college baseball version of that little league kid that said he just hits dingers.
Yeah. I remember that
Yeah.
kid. I hit dingers.
That's all this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't much of an argument there.
Well, he can't. I mean, even if the ball gets past him, he wasn't going first anyway, but he can't run.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
it is what it is.
But frankly, if you told Mike before the game, hey, you get 2 at-bats with Elko, you get a home run and a strikeout, he says,
Done.
good.
Done. Well, also, you know how hyped he got on that home run. Tim probably went up to the plate right there feeling exhausted. In all
A little bit,
honesty,
sure.
I mean,
Sure.
already kind of had the moment here.
Sure.
Yeah, Big Al. That was the kid's name.
GJ Gatlin 1 wants to know what I think of the recent Peloton upgrades. They're okay. I've done a couple of rides. They're all right. I need to make myself kind of get back into
What'd they
Peloton
do?
a little bit. They've just kind of changed the way some of it looks, the way you get into classes, previews.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm ready for more live rides where there's people in the building.
When are they starting that back?
I don't know. Maybe never. Science. Very dangerous.
Patrick Willis gave the commencement address on campus
Did
today.
you know that Plumlee played football?
Are we
Used to
talking
get-
about that?
Used to get chased by linebackers.
You know,
David Kellum does it on the radio broadcast. Talks about him throwing post routes. I mean, it's constant.
I give
football
the
thing.
TV a little more of a pass because it's not just your local audience. You know what I mean? Like, you could run the casual guy. Okay, I get it. But why we talk about it locally at this point?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's pretty well versed on what his.
Well, and you know that's a generous outside corner. You
Give a little there.
It's almost like it's a 12-5 game in the ninth inning. Yeah.
Strike.
Does the Peloton seat not hurt? No, it doesn't hurt me. If you sit on it wrong for any length of time, you can get a little numb down there. But no, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I wonder where Big Al is now because his voice was kind of raspy. Softball is going to be hell for him one day.
Fields, yeah.
He's going to hit some mammoth shots.
You hate to have the best moment of your life at the age of 12 because you really can't cash in on it completely.
Somebody pointed out, a buddy of mine, that we had that softball conversation of like which former players would be good at it or whatever. Craig Rodriguez actually does that. He travels around the country playing very high-level competitive adult
I've heard that
softball.
before. Yeah.
Yeah. He's all over the place.
I can see that.
Yeah, sure. Again, back to my point. Pitchers have hit in their lives. They didn't just always grow up as just a pitcher.
Of course not.
High school, the best player in your high school team didn't go, you know what, I'm just going to start and pitch. They're going to DH for me, and I'm
Yeah.
going to pitch on these days.
At the age of 12.
Yeah, no, they hit 880 probably because they were the best player on the field.
They hit third.
Yeah. Didn't that look up?
It was a little up, but the zone got big there.
It did.
That was probably a strike if you did the K zone thingy.
You think so?
Yeah,
Where it crossed?
maybe not, but where it ended.
Where it ended. Okay, well, that's good. Awesome.
That's what I mean. It's college umpires. They're going to have a big zone. Tawny Katane came into my bar in Monroe once with Chuck Finley.
Did you really?
Yeah. Yep. She used the payphone. They came in on a Friday afternoon. It was just me and Chuck Finley and Tawny Katane in the bar for about an hour.
Talk.
Yeah.
You recognized?
Oh, yeah. Immediately.
Back in that day, especially.
Both of them. Yeah.
I probably will not go through and figure out what Ole Miss's record is when those guys are in the lineup. That doesn't feel like something I really want to do. Box scores are on the internet, though. Feel free.
It's bottom 9 now.
Yes.
By the way, if anybody has any connections to NJ Rebs 10 and he wants to call in about how the wedding weekend is going, we'd love to hear from him. "12 runs on 12 hits. Not a bad day. Not a bad day of work on the offensive side."
No, 2 huge days offensively. Leaving Burton in for the 9th.
I would think so. I mean, he'd have to get in real trouble for you to get
Somebody up.
Yeah. Barrett Ramia wants to know, Chase, what impact would Ely have had on this team if he never had surgery? He'd be playing now.
Yeah, I mean, the question would be, do you not know about T.J. McCants at this point?
Oh, that's a good
Because he
point.
could be playing in center. Bench could then be playing somewhere in the infield, or even fix another outfield issue if you felt like you had an outfield issue. You know, you might have even thought about moving Gonzalez. Like, yeah, it does some different things. It gives you an extra guy, but you almost wonder if the odd man out there is McCants because he was not projected at the beginning of the year, and there wouldn't have been as much reason to give it a shot. As long as Ely played well. I mean, I think Ely would have been helpful on this team just the way he kind of moves the baseball and is on the bases. Almost doesn't have a lot of him. They struggle with that type of player on this team. Outfield defense has definitely been a little bit of an issue. They're not good out there.
No, it's been a struggle.
Yeah, they're very average or a little or frankly below average defensively in the outfield. Kevin Graham probably should have caught that ball off the wall today. I mean, I was trying to be nice to TJ last week. I asked Mike, so what have you kind of seen progression-wise with McCants in the outfield? Looks like he's better. And his response was, well, he's better until he misses 2 or 3 of them. I said, well, okay, fair enough. So, moving on. So,
could you elaborate?
I'm just going to cross that note off the book.
Yeah, my man, you can't be standing up there taking that in a 12-5 game in the 9th.
You ain't getting that call.
I mean, the umpires made it clear this is not a tight zone anymore. I actually think that was a strike anyway, but come on.
Burton's velocity's been a touch-up today. It's a little lower now, but he's actually gotten 92 to 94 at times.
I mean, right now it's just pound zone, get out.
And look, with his height and his reach, he's got pretty good vertical movement on his fastball. I mean, that really plays up. He's a big kid.
There's a decent chance that Ole Miss is playing a hungover baseball team tomorrow. These guys might have a few tonight.
Even last night as they were winning, they're not a team with a lot of energy.
No.
Yeah,
well, they just showed their dugout, and their dugout looks like a bunch of guys that are thinking about how long is it going to take for us to –
It's only 2:30, guys.
Yeah, we got plenty of time.
Yeah. So tonight, 8-ish.
Yeah.
You thinking?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the first pitch? 1? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, we're good.
School's out. Okay.
What's our record? 6-17? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
Yeah. Coach is getting fired at the end of the year, so what difference does it make right now with that?
There's not a lot of concern right now. No joke. It's kind of an opportunity tomorrow to be easily the fresher team.
Like their starting pitcher from yesterday, half of them is thinking, could I have just not shown today? Would anybody have noticed had I not been here? I don't keep the chart today. I'm good.
23, my man. If it's me and I'm you, I'm swinging here because the zone is big on this pitch. This umpire just kind of.
He does not want walks right now.
Well, this umpire just missed getting pounded by a foul ball right now, and he's thinking, you know what?
We're getting out of here.
I wouldn't mind a cold one myself.
Well, Burton's not throwing a lot of off speed. We're getting a lot of fastballs.
Seven-run game in the ninth. The zone's big.
Yeah, Lonnie Anderson had her moment for sure.
Oh, no doubt.
That was inside. Can't get that call.
Lonnie Anderson was on her fair share of boys' bedroom walls. I think the umpire just took one off his foot.
Tony Gatan, like, mostly just Whitesnake or, like, throughout a lot of videos? I mean, I know it's what she's known for, but...
She was in some movies, I think, but...
Mostly music videos.
Mostly music videos, and mostly the Whitesnake one was the one that launched her career for whatever it turned out to be.
However you want to call that,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. Probably one of the most parodied people in the history of the world.
Tawny.
Yeah. Yeah, like look at the headlines here. Music video vixen, bachelor party star.
She spent some money on Botox.
Music video icon.
Wow, you're running down 7. I mean, okay, but why?
What's that about?
I mean, if you happen to get thrown out,
okay,
you should probably quit because whatever's left of your career is.
You think you missed a sign? You think he just went?
I think he just took off.
I mean, Burton didn't care about him. He wasn't paying him any attention.
Well, no, you don't give his run means nothing. But if you're A&M, I mean, if you're even maintaining a fantasy of scoring 7 runs here, you can't give up an out on the bases.
And if Childers called for it, what are you doing? The AP goes, with Tony Gatan, the sultry redheaded actress who appeared in rock music videos during the heyday of MTV, has died. She was 59. California authorities say she died at her home in Newport Beach. The cause of death was not immediately released. Starred opposite Tom Hanks in the 1984 comedy Bachelor Party. I don't know that I know Bachelor Party.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Really?
No. That was my heyday, too. I was 14.
Let's see. Bachelor Party, 1994 film.
94 or 84?
84. Sorry.
84.
Tom Hanks, Adrian Zemed, William Tepper, Tawny Gatan.
No, I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah, the girl, she played his girlfriend in the movie.
Win an Oscar for that?
Let's see. It had a budget. Well, it did okay. It had a budget of $7 million, made $38.4 million. Nothing wrong with that.
No, that's solid.
Running time 105 minutes. Knew exactly. All right. 2 down. Let's see. The idea for the film came from an actual bachelor party thrown by producer Ron Moeller and a group of his friends for fellow producer Bob Israel. Several members of the film's cast and crew were at the party when the idea began to take place. The film was made in the wake of the success of Police Academy. It holds a rating of 54% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Not great.
While some critics appreciated the humor, others found it to be vulgar and gratuitous. Roger Ebert recommended the film, but had reservations about certain aspects, calling it sophomoric and not a great film. Well, Raj, nobody thought it was going to be a great film when it was made. The director never went into it and went, "Can I have the envelope, please?"
No. It was a cash grab.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
They had Tom Hanks in 84. That's what it meant.
And her.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. It had a straight-to-DVD sequel, Bachelor Party 2, The Last Temptation.
I bet.
That did not star Tom Hanks.
It didn't.
Josh Cook and Sarah Foster playing the roles in that one.
Yeah.
I see no budget information. I don't know. One to strike away.
I really question what number 8 is doing here. It's a 2-1 count. He threw a fastball. It was a strike, and you're taking it, and then you act like you're stunned. And I realize it doesn't matter, but
It doesn't.
they're a checked-out group right here, the Aggies. Some of their plate appearances have been...
Ray Haleo has had a rough weekend against his former team.
The third baseman,
Bryce Blom.
was he the kid that...
He was one of my favorite guys coming into that class. I thought he had a chance to maybe play at second base early in his career, but he left before even his freshman year was over.
Because of playing time type stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Alejo 1 for 5 today, 2 strikeouts. Sitting 327 on the year. He's played well. He also plays center field.
Is that who this is right here?
No, I'm just looking at
Oh,
the
okay.
box score.
Gotcha. "51 pitches for Wes Burton." Yeah, he's hitting the
Hitting a little wall.
hitting the wall a little bit.
Yeah, he hasn't thrown 51 pitches in a long time. If he gets this out, 2.1 innings for Wes. Gave up the 1 run on a home run.
Their dugout just kind of cracks me up. I'm not really sure why. I'm not really sure what it is that I'm looking for, but I think I'm just projecting.
Well, you're not
thoughts.
but you're not even seeing, like, they're not really talking to one another even.
Yeah,
like,
they're
there's
just
no
standing there.
Conversation of whatever. It's just Burton is getting really annoyed by the foul balls right now.
Yeah, he's tired. Wes might as well go to the party with the A&M guys because he's not pitching tomorrow.
He can go ahead and pack the cleats tonight and get him on the bus.
Yeah. He probably could just get to the park in time to leave tomorrow.
Yeah.
Nobody would care.
Yeah.
It's so. What time's the game tomorrow? 1?
1.
1 o'clock.
Okay, I don't think that was right. That said 62 miles an hour.
No,
They've had a hard time with a gun today.
It was harder than that.
They had one pitch at 46 earlier. Unless Zach Greinke's pitching, I don't think that's likely.
You think Greinke could even get it that slow? He's thrown 150 something.
Yeah. And it's really just, I mean, it's looping it in. It's
And the hitter literally his knees buckled. Oh, that's kind of in no man's land. Yep.
12-6.
Shaggy says TV says 11 tomorrow. I don't think that's right. I thought I saw 1 too, but I'll make sure. I got the schedule here.
We could be wrong, but I thought 1. He said he corrected himself, so it is 1 o'clock.
This has 2 o'clock ESPNU. This has the schedule for Sunday, May the 9th. Mississippi State at South Carolina at 1.
Taking him out. Sure, Mike has not been around any of his players at any point over the course of the weekend, so make sure he was protected there.
Yes, absolutely. He's not been within close proximity of anyone on that team. They didn't ride a bus together, a plane together, nothing. Mike did it. Mike flew separately, correct?
Yeah, drove himself.
Okay, good. Yeah. Just making sure.
We came in a couple days early, stayed with Ross, met the team there.
Yeah. Yeah, I realize the all times Eastern on this. It says Ole Miss, Texas A&M, 3 p.m. ESPNU tomorrow, which would be 3 p.m. Eastern, which would mean 2 Central.
And I could have sworn I didn't see 2. $1 p.m.
1
is
p.m.
what is on the Ole Miss baseball schedule.
Okay.
6:30, 11, and 1
Okay.
are the times listed online. The Ole Miss baseball preview for the weekend shows 6:30, 11, and 1.
Okay.
Both teams TBA tomorrow. However, Ole Miss is not TBA. Drew McDaniel will start for the Rebels now that Derek Diamond threw last night in long relief. I have no idea who A&M has run out there. They have played a lot of pitchers over the course of these 2 games.
I can tell you who doesn't want to pitch for them. Whoever it is that gets to pitch tomorrow.
Oh, you don't think so?
Doesn't want the ball.
I was going with Tyler Myers for 1 more out, a Houston, Texas native.
That's a cool moment for him.
Mike likes using him because of that last number there, 23 strikeouts and only 2 walks.
Yep.
Right.
He's coming back from Tommy John, is that correct?
That is correct. He is 14 months clear of Tommy John now. Assuming they get 1 more out, the Rebels will be 33-13, 14-9 in the SEC. A&M will be 26-23 and 6-17 in the SEC. A&M still fighting for that one of those final spots in Hoover.
Something tells me they're not.
That is not the word.
It does not look. Just based on body language, I would disagree.
Auburn is trying to make sure they are one of the teams that's not getting in. They've lost the first 2 this weekend. They are 5-18 now in the SEC.
Yeah.
Missouri currently 5-17 going into today's game, and then A&M 6-17 if they lose this one. So it's still a battle. Next weekend, at Plainsman Park in Auburn, A&M visits. So Auburn and A&M can decide one next weekend.
Plenty of tickets available.
Oh. Ooh. Missouri's remaining schedule these last 2 weeks is... Oh, they play Auburn too. Mississippi State and Auburn for Missouri. So Auburn controls its own destiny here, and in the search for an SEC tournament bid
Yeah.
to get into the postseason. Final
That's the ball
score:
game.
12-7. Rebels over Aggies. Mike Bianco has his 800th win at Ole Miss, 900 career wins total.
So there's a lot of stuff we'll talk about here in a minute. We'll talk about where this team is from a standing standpoint, the Gunnar Hoglund story. Like I said, Chase is going to get on a Zoom call, see if he can learn a little bit more about that. We'll talk about that. We're going to do a full show tomorrow. We'll do, assuming it's a 1 o'clock game, but whatever. We'll do a show if it's 1, 2, 11, but it's 1. We'll do that tomorrow. But we'll take your calls if you have any. If you want to call, whatever. We're just kind of, the plan was to do today, and then I screwed that up. So we're gonna make it up to you.
Rather play for La Tech or Missouri as a baseball player. I can make positives for either.
Yeah, I mean, Missouri's a much better quality of competition. You're going to play in the SEC,
And you're going to play in those stadiums for a lot more often.
Yeah,
But you're bad.
Louisiana Tech, all in all, is probably a better baseball program.
You probably have more fun as a player.
Probably have more fun. Going to win more.
Yeah.
Going to have more fans at your games in Ruston than at your games in Columbia, for sure.
You are.
It's close. All in all, probably rather play for Tech.
Weather's better.
The weather's better, sure.
I mean, which is.
Yeah, you're going to play some cold early games.
I told you some of my favorite things back in the day. Missouri would give the real attendance of his games before they joined the league, or maybe right when they joined the league. And you'd have these games in February where, I mean, it's snowing. It's 18 degrees, and they'd put it there and begin attendance 23,
Oof.
18, 17. Just. An era where you used to actually have actual attendance and box scores. That is no longer the case.
Well, look, you got to really love baseball to go to a game in February in Columbia, Missouri, in 22-degree weather. Don't know how many people love it that much. I'll give the SEC Network credit. They show the heck out of softball.
It's
I think it's
fast.
because it's easier to program.
It fits the window.
Yeah.
Frankly, the ratings are pretty good.
All right, so Chase is going to go get on the Zoom, so I'll entertain your questions. Just let them know what you're doing. And I don't think anybody's here but Laura. Yeah, so I've got the Skype open. If anybody wants to call, you can call. We can take calls here. Chase can get on the Zoom, and then we can talk about Gunnar Hoglund in a much more educated way after he talks to Mike Bianco here in a second. Yeah, I'd love to hear about that wedding. I don't know. I've got my doubts. But I could be wrong. I think the story's been embellished. Trey Berry, I don't know if it's official. I haven't heard anything official. But everything I'm told as of this week is that everything is still on for him to go to Ole Miss. That's still the plan. That's been the plan. That's the expectation, and that's what he was telling people as of early this week, is that it was going to be Ole Miss. I don't even know how the signing works of a grad transfer. Like, I don't really know how that works. Whether there's something that you actually sign or whether you just enroll. The players are off because graduation, the 2020 class had graduation today. The most recent graduation was last week, so everybody's out of town. And they typically give the kids 2 or 3 weeks, and then they come back end of May, 1st of June for summer school and to begin the summer off-season program. So there's not a big hurry, but no, I'm like you. I'm trying to find out about it. Podcast about journalism in general. I don't even know that I don't know that my views are even positive enough for me to do that. Any football recruiting rumors? Not really. The dead period's going to end here in 3 weeks, basically. What's today? The 9th? Yeah, a little over 3 weeks. And then kids can start taking unofficial visits on June 1st. And I think what you see is a whole lot of guys, a whole lot of prospects have said, hey, I haven't been able to go talk to anybody in person, haven't been able to do this in person. And now that I can, before I make a decision to do anything, I'm going to go take some visits. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And I mean, that makes sense, right? For the kids, it makes sense for the programs themselves as well, because those guys want the coaches themselves. They actually want to be able to they want to be able to talk to these guys and get to know them a little bit. I've heard several coaches at different programs talk about how challenging recruiting was, where you really couldn't get to know the kids and their families and stuff the way that you used to, and especially with this one-time no penalty transfer thing now, it's going to make, if you have a bad eval, they're going to bolt from your campus pretty quick. So I don't think there's a whole lot of rumors to hear. I think it'll be a busy summer. I think it'll be an active summer. I think you'll start hearing a lot more things of substance starting in June. Yeah, we've tried to do GPIT's the video for a while now. For whatever reason, and I don't know what it is, we haven't been able to make it work technically with 3 people. It's been really difficult. Maybe we'll try again. We've tried using eCam and the eCam just doesn't work. What we're trying to do, we've tried week after week and it just doesn't work. So we end up doing sort of the audio version, and frankly, with Gabe off Twitter and me basically off Twitter. I know I tweeted once today. I made a fun tweet, but I haven't been using Twitter. I'm not really using it much at all. So it's been hard to kind of push the podcast out very much. And yes, GPIT's at Cathead. Oh yeah, I saw your post earlier. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do a show. We've just been waiting for all the COVID stuff to go away so that we can do that. But we need to make that happen. Need to figure out a way to get Gabe there too. That would be a lot of fun. Drunk Gabe is pretty funny. Tyler, my favorite Peloton instructor. This is going to sound like a cop-out, but it's not. It really depends on what I'm trying to get out of a workout. if I'm just trying to get some exercise in, I might depend on the scenery a little bit more. So I might do Emma Lovewell or the London girl who I can't think of her name right now. If I want to get a really good workout, I typically do Alex Toussaint or Ben Aldis. I get my metrics are better in those rides, and then I'll just do different things. I like a bunch of different ones, but I've been running a lot lately. Like I've been running 4 days a week, so Peloton has been on the days I don't run, and so it hasn't been as intense most days. It's been more recovery rides or just endurance rides or whatever. I haven't been competing nearly as much. I've done some Cody Rigsby rides. Cody's funny. I like his rides. They're good. So again, in case you're wondering, if you just got in, Chase right now is in the Ole Miss post-game Zoom, talking to Mike Bianco and whoever else. Those things typically go about 15 minutes. He'll come back in here after that, and I suspect that Gunnar Hoglund's situation is going to be a huge topic of conversation today. So that's what we'll talk about when he gets back in. And again, phone lines are open in case you want to call. The number is 662-259-0991. And I've got Skype up if anybody does want to call. We're going to do a show tomorrow as well. We'll do a watch party show. So for the Ole Miss Texas A&M series finale, 1 o'clock start. So we'll sign on just before 1 tomorrow. And for those of you that hang with us, we'll look forward to it. I know it's Mother's Day, so we do Mother's Day like evening, so we don't do like the whole lunch thing. So if you're like us, join us. You can hang out. We'll have a couple. I'm going to try to get up and get 10 thoughts done. Either that or punt 10 thoughts for a day and publish them on Monday, which might be the better plan because that would let me write about the baseball game. Would I rather live on a plane for the rest of my life or a passenger car? I mean, I guess a plane because it'd be a lot bigger, right? A passenger car like a train passenger car? I've never been actually in a passenger car, so I don't know. I mean, I've been on Amtrak, but I've never had like my own room or whatever. Cubs and Pirates tie it up at 2, bottom of the 4th. I don't have any thoughts on who Tottenham will choose as its new manager. Matt, I could get Carson down here and ask him. He probably would know a little bit more than I would. But he's pretty giddy about Chelsea right now. That's his team and has been his team for a while. So he's pretty pumped about Chelsea in the Champions League, and he's excited about that game. He likes a lot of people on that team. All I know is Pulisic. I cheer for him just because he's an American. And now I wish I had chosen Chelsea instead of Tottenham because Chelsea's a lot better than Tottenham. But I can't switch now, and I made a deal with him on how I picked the team, and I ended up with Chelsea because of Harry Kane. Yeah, they should hire Ted Lasso, right? All right, so Chelsea played Man City today in an English Premier League game. Is that right? They played an EPL game, and they'll play a Champions League game, the championship of the Champions League. I think it's May the 29th in Istanbul. That's not. And look, I like soccer. I like it more and more all the time. As Carson gets older, watching him play gets more fun than just watching your kid play. I'm actually learning about the game and stuff like that. But the whole English Premier League, when they mix with the Champions League and then they do other stuff, I get kind of confused with some of that sometimes, if I'm being completely honest. But I do like it more. I've grown to appreciate the game a whole lot more as he gets older, and I start learning a little bit more about it. And I watch his middle school season this year was actually a lot of fun because the kids are getting bigger and stronger and faster, and they're better, and it's just it's more fun. It's when years ago some of the club soccer stuff was just, I mean, it was brutal. If your kid wasn't out there, you'd want to like shoot yourself. But now it's gotten a lot better. It's a lot more interesting to watch. It's probably that way with like travel baseball and stuff too. As the kids get older, the quality of the baseball's better, so it's more enjoyable. It's my guess. I've actually gotten where I enjoy watching some of the soccer games now for more than just watching him run around. Man U because of the Chevy commercials. Yeah, I like Chelsea's good. They're fun to watch. Like that. I actually had that game on the other day. We had the podcast on when they were playing Real Madrid, and that was pretty good. The assist from Pulisic on the goal that made it 2-0 was really good soccer. Yeah, I realize I know what the formula is. I just sometimes get confused with when they go play a game. It's just me being an idiot. But I've kind of figured it out now. But sometimes like when I heard they were playing Man City, I thought that game's not until, and then I realized it was a previously scheduled EPL game. That's the trip that he wants to take one day. Is he wants to go to England and go to like a couple of EPL games. And that would be a lot of fun. And maybe by then it'll be a little more doable. Yeah. Hadn't been up there much. Hadn't been to Fayetteville much, Bo, but next time I get up there, I'm coming up with Caroline for her orientation, but that'll be pretty busy. And then we'll move her in. It's hard to believe. She moves into a college in 3 months. Like what's today? Yeah, a little over 3 months. Unbelievable. It's going to be weird at this house, just me and Laura and Carson. So again, Chase is on the Zoom. He'll be in a little bit. Hopefully I hear him talking, so he must have asked a couple of questions. Let's see, I'll get y'all some scores from SEC games today. Ole Miss won 12-7, as you know, beating Texas A&M. Florida leads Kentucky 4-0. That game's in the top of the fifth. Vanderbilt leads Alabama in Nashville 3-0. That game's in the bottom of the third. LSU and Auburn are tied at 1 in the top of the fifth. Tennessee and Missouri get started here any minute now on the SEC network. That game in Columbia, Missouri. Another game's in Columbia, South Carolina. That's Mississippi State and South Carolina. And then tonight, Georgia and Arkansas play the second game of that series in Fayetteville. That's a 6 o'clock start at Baum. Yeah, I'd love to go to London and actually watch that soccer. That would be really cool. Yeah, that's true, Bo. Testosterone will outnumber estrogen. It'll be 4-1 if you include the dogs. Yeah, you would have to call it football there. You'd get hurt. If you went up there and if you called it soccer, they'd probably get pissed off. I'm not a big gumbo person, Kyle. I don't. It's not my favorite thing, believe it or not. I like it fine, but I don't like it enough to actually go to all the trouble of making a roux and all that stuff myself. So I don't really have a recipe. I like jambalaya and etouffee and Creole a lot more than I like gumbo. If I'm just being really honest, it's not my favorite thing. It's fine. It's kind of like crawfish, and I know as a Louisiana guy, you're not supposed to say this out loud, but I don't like it that much. It's fine. But I don't ever go, man, I just can't wait to go get some crawfish somewhere. And I realize I'm handing in my Louisiana card when I say that, but that's the truth. I'd much prefer shrimp to crawfish. And for me, the crawfish has to be done really well, or else it's just too much work for too little meat, and it's nasty. Probably most of you got off just completely abandoned me at that point. What's your favorite gumbo recipe, Kyle, since you're there? In case you're curious, SEC baseball tournament tickets go on sale on May the 12th. Curious to see how that's going to work, what they're going to do. All session ticket books can be purchased for $110 each. Single session tickets, if available, will sell for $20 beginning on May the 22nd. You can go to secticketoffice.com, or you can call 877-332-7804. The tournament starts on May the 25th. It runs through the 30th. As of now, all seats will be reserved. No general admission seating. The whole face covering thingy when you go in and out. All tickets will be mobile. No fan fest. And the clear bag policy as always. Kyle, the one thing I can tell you when you make gumbo is it's all about the roux. You got to do. The roux has to be good, or else it's a total disaster. That's why I like the mixes and stuff. If you ever make one of those, it tastes like just trash. It's because of that. Yeah, I thought I saw Avery. Yeah, shrimp is more food for less work. Exactly. It's just better, too. See, Bo, I don't mind peeling shrimp because I'm gonna get more. I'm okay with that. The Zoom call's still going because I hear Chase asking yet another question. He's probably frustrated because a lot of the other media are asking. And don't get me wrong, it's a good story. The Elko story today is a good story. The bigger story and the story with more ramifications, the story with more nuance to it is the Hoglund story. And Chase is probably close to the only one really digging in on the Hoglund thing. Because there are some questions with Gunnar. He's had some discomfort for a while. Did you do an MRI before this week? And if you didn't do an MRI, why didn't you do an MRI? And if he felt stiffness in the arm during warm-up, why did he pitch? And if you saw enough in the first hitter last night to get Derek Diamond up and starting to get him ready that quickly in the game, then you saw something obvious, and it makes you wonder why you didn't go get him right then. Those are questions that I have, and I don't even cover the team. So I know those are questions that he has. Those were the things that he and I talked about this morning when I called, and I was like, what happened? And those are the questions that I have. And so that's the story today. And then if he's forearm is typically Tommy John, and if it's a Tommy John injury, he's out for the year. And, obviously, and there's bigger concerns than just the team, but where do you go from here? And if you're holding out hope that it's not a severe injury, and I'm sure everyone associated with it is, what is a realistic plan of attack at this point? Because it's May the 9th, May the 8th. You're 3 weeks or so from postseason. If he's out, he's out. And those are the questions that I've got. And those are the questions that I suspect he's asking right now. And some of those questions are not particularly comfortable for people to ask, and they're not comfortable for people to answer, but they're legitimate questions. If you knew he had discomfort, he probably should not have made that start yesterday. And I know people say, well, it's just 18 pitches. If you knew at the very beginning of when he came to in the warm-up and he's complaining of stiffness, he shouldn't have pitched. You're talking about a guy that has been projected as a top 10 pick in the Major League Baseball amateur draft. It's a lot of money. There's a responsibility when you manage a player of that magnitude. You have a responsibility to him. And I know not everybody agrees with that, and some people think, no, coach's job is to win, and that's the job, and I get it. But I would argue that the job runs deeper than that. I agree with Hilden here. In the event, and listen, I'll be honest, I think it's unlikely that he pitches again for Ole Miss this season. But in the event that you've somehow avoided disaster and he's going to be available, he doesn't pitch in a competitive game until an NCAA regional. You don't pitch him in Hoover. Ole Miss is 14-9 right now in the SEC. He's getting an MRI on Monday, according to Chase. I just posted that. In the event that that you get lucky here, he doesn't pitch again until an NCAA regional. There's no reason for him to pitch in Hoover. You've put yourself in a hosting conversation. Let's just play this out. Let's say Ole Miss wins tomorrow. That's 15. Let's give them 1 against Vanderbilt. That's 16. Give them 2 against Georgia. That's 18. You're going to be a host. You're probably not going to be a national seed. It doesn't really matter at this point. The bigger concern with Gunnar Hoglund is his health. And in the event that you somehow avoid disaster, he doesn't pitch again until a tournament. You don't pitch in Hoover. You're not thinking about Hoover. Truth is, as much as fans love Hoover and as much as everybody gets excited about Hoover typically doesn't mean a whole lot. And for Ole Miss this year, I don't know that Hoover's going to mean just a whole hell of a lot. As you can see, Chase Parham back with us. Give him a moment to get kind of settled in, and then I'll start my grilling on his grilling. And yeah, you're right. Ben and Avery are exactly right. Recruits notice this kind of thing. I told Chase today, look, if Hoglund pitched hurt, that gets used against you in recruiting. It just does. It just gets used against you in recruiting. And then we can do a whole lot of shows about why injuries like this happen and guys throw all year, and this is a cumulative thing. You ready?
10 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, if in a scenario, Ben, where he gets to pitch again this year, you want to control that, and Hoover's an uncontrollable environment. You would want to control it in a bullpen.
Okay.
All right. You talked to Mike.
I did.
Let's get to the Gunnar Hoglund stuff. Has an MRI been done? Was that question asked?
Yeah, I asked that question. He has not had an MRI. Basically, the injury with the bicep, it was contained strictly to the muscle, and because he was cleared, given that this few days, no MRI to this point. Mike said, however, he would get an MRI as soon as they got back to Oxford. He was careful, and I don't blame a head coach here. He never obviously used the word surgery. He tried to I guess minimize is the word, but just saying to make sure they're on the correct protocol, whatever the correct protocol is moving forward with Gunnar. He mentioned, treatments or rest or anything that might needed. He kind of kept the S word out of it, but he said that he would have an MRI on Monday when they got back, and they would proceed from there at that point to figure out exactly what is going on.
Okay, so frequently in baseball, when a guy has a Tommy John injury, and you've had this experience,
I have.
We saw May with the Dodgers have this happen the other day. He knew right away.
Yeah, there wasn't that. So, okay, that's a good point. So,
okay, thank you.
Two things with Tommy John. There are two ways that when you have Tommy John, I don't want to use Gunnar as an example because we don't know for sure that's
Let's just use pitcher X.
Yeah, pitcher X. He deals with some of these things. He's warming up a little bit. He's throwing, and at some point during his throwing, he has what they call forearm stiffness, forearm discomfort. It feels like a really hard tightness in the middle to the outside part of your forearm.
Okay.
For anybody who can see the camera.
Mm-hmm.
The UCL is to do a quick Tommy John lesson. The UCL is the ulnar collateral ligament in your elbow. It runs down the inside of your elbow. You can see my scar.
Mm-hmm.
It runs down the inside into that little nerve right there. That the ulnar nerve is right there inside that thing. They replace it and fix it with either a tendon out of your wrist, your hamstring, cadaver, multiple options there, but either way.
Yep.
Mine's out of my wrist, but either way. Not everybody has actually the thing in their wrist. There's a certain percentage of the population that don't have that, but nonetheless. They fix it in that way. So when that gets inflamed or gets to a point where there's been a tear, but it's not a complete tear, you're feeling discomfort, you're feeling stiffness, and it typically radiates through the forearm because the ulnar nerve runs all the way down through there, down the side of your arm. What that would typically mean was they caught it or it is hurting prior to a complete tear. But there is a tear there. There is definitely some kind of damage. I was talking to Dr. Reeves Moore this morning with Special Orthopedic Group, and he told me that in his mind, when you have forearm pain, tenderness, whatever you want to call it, the three things that are potentially, he says, look, there's zebras out there, but let's keep it normal. You're talking about UCL tears, Tommy John surgery. You're talking about the ulnar nerve being in a poor position, which would require a surgery to essentially take that nerve and that ligament and move it over just a little bit to stabilize it. I think it's an instability thing is what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third thing, which is what Derek Diamond had last summer when he had a forearm strain, which is simply a muscle tissue inflammation, if you will, that is causing pain in that area. Now, that quickly, though, is your body telling you that something is wrong.
Right.
I mean, that can be done from an overuse. Look, Gunnar has not been overused compared to – I know everybody likes to get all up on the message board, but Gunnar has not been overused this year in any way.
No.
He's been used no less or no more than any other ace on the staff. So, but your body hurting there tells you there's a problem in some way. Like I said, it could be early in the year. It could be not getting enough work in. And see, that's why that's what this morning I wasn't trying to alarm everybody that, hey, I know 100% this is Tommy John. My point is that at this point in the season, when he hasn't been overused, it's not like it's a stress fracture that suddenly you're just doing so much more and you get it a little stiff and a little whatever. So it feels like, given the fact that it was bicep and then forearm, and well, what's in the middle? I mean, we'll use some easy knowledge there. That at least some type of inflammation is going on, in my opinion. The other thing you mentioned is like with May.
Yeah.
You it sounds like a shotgun goes off. That ligament snaps. That's what happened to me. I threw a pitch. Get here, you hear pow. Arm goes numb, tingling.
That's what happened to him. He knew it too. Yeah, sure.
No, this is not a know it. This is I don't like the symptom that's going on here, and then going from there. But you're not going to know until you get until you get an MRI, And I talked to somebody this morning who said that it's not uncommon at all for a pitcher who does have an elbow injury to be able to get through a midweek bullpen without issue, because Gunnar did. This is something that's popped up in a game. It's something that popped up in the pregame, really getting ready bullpen, but is not necessarily something that would come in your midweek bullpen. They said that typically a UCL, even a damaged one, can withstand about 75% of your ability, or however you want to phrase that. If you're throwing at about 75%, it still won't cause you pain. It still can be function. And I remember even with a completely torn one, I've probably told the story on the podcast, So I tear it like on a Thursday night. Well, my appointment wasn't until like Monday or Tuesday because I'm not a world-class athlete. I've got to wait and see a doctor. Well, we had a game on that Saturday, and I'm out there with a glove, and I could just kind of pop it. Like I kind of got a ball, and I'm just sort of throwing it 30, 40 feet. And I was like, well, I mean, did I over-exaggerate that? I mean, I know I didn't because it popped, but I'm like, it doesn't hurt. The guy backed up to about 90 feet where I had to actually extend, and I went down to my knees and said, okay, no, this is it's over. So I understand at least the logic of what I was told that, look, you could get through a midweek bullpen, think you're perfectly fine, and then proceed from there.
So if he had pregame issues, why did he even make the start?
And that's a question that I don't have an answer for, and that's, to me, and you and I talked about it this morning, that's the thing that's going to haunt a little bit in multiple ways. Maybe not a little bit, maybe a lot. Because, A, you know that you've had an issue to some level of the arm because of the bicep injury 2 weeks ago, the missed start, even the 73-pitch outing last week was not normal from that standpoint. I understand the trainer cleared him. I understand he didn't have any pain. And in my head, I think I know what Mike was doing. But what bothers me about it is even just from on TV, I could tell that something looked funny. Gunnar did not have the command that he typically does. And baseball rules allow you to, as soon as you see a problem, to go get a kid from injury off the mound, to give the reliever an hour if he needs an hour.
Sure.
It completely stops, and he can get ready at that point. So there wasn't even a, hey, and I know this is a dumb moment for Neal, but my point is for anybody who doesn't understand this, there is no, I have to make sure my other guy gets ready. No, an injury stops the game at that point, and the reliever would have as much time as possible to get ready. So from an optics standpoint,
because all you have to do is
you
you tell the umpire when you go out, hey, come with me.
Yeah.
And you're asking about medical situations. And obviously protecting an athlete's health is priority one.
Right.
And so if the first thing is, hey, something's wrong, huh? And you've already – Mike knew something was wrong even beyond – he knew in two ways. One, there was an acknowledgement that in pregame there was some stiffness. And then in two, he got Derek Diamond up one hitter into the game.
Yeah, I think it was the second hitter when Derek got in.
So obviously you don't do that if everything's great.
Copacetic, yeah, sure.
So –
well, yeah, because if we'd had no injury in the past at all with Gunnar Hoglund, he's just a little wild for a couple of batters, Mike's going, what in the hell is wrong with him? But he's not going, hey, Diamond, get up immediately and let's rush and get this going.
No, of course not. That might be you run out and go, hey, let's work on,
You're
whatever,
right?
whatever. Yeah, it's all good. This was injury related, and I don't understand it.
Breaking balls that are not thrown properly cause more UCL tears than anything else in younger people. But you can get some stress injuries depending on how much you are used. But typically, your just standard Tommy John is because of things that have popped up from too much or frankly improper breaking ball use.
And Ginger asked a great question here, and I'm going to answer it. And this is going to sound a little smart-ass, but I mean it literally.
Yeah.
Her question is, but don't you also rely on the kid to tell you something is wrong?
Tell you something's wrong. Sure, and Gunnar did, though, is the point.
Yeah.
Because Mike said, hey, what's up? Hey, my forearm's acting funny.
You're never going to get a kid like him, and never's a big word, but you know what I mean.
Stereotypically, that kid is not going to go, hey, yeah, I can't throw.
I can't throw. He's going to say, give me the ball. It's Friday night. It's SEC. It's Texas A&M. It's give me
got three left.
I've got this uniform on, and here I go.
Yeah.
And so this is where, and I have real questions, and I do, and I've got a lot of questions about this. This is where I question the trainer. This is where I question. A week ago, he was pitching really well, and you took him out at 73 pitches. So either something was on the radar. Let's get real.
His velocity had fallen at that point.
His velocity fell. Your antennas are all over the place up on this.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells you in pregame, I've got some stiffness. You notice his delivery's off. I'm just going to say it. He should not have made that start last night. And quite frankly, the more I think about it and talk about it, it's an inexcusable error.
Yeah, no, he throws his bullpen. You've got whatever time, and you go, hey, even if this thing's got to get delayed a minute, I've got a problem. Hey, Derek, we got to get loose. We got to go.
Well, it's not even about it's not even about the baseball game.
No. My point is they would allow, like, it's not even like you find out 5 minutes before and go, oh hell, he's got to throw because we're here.
You literally, and this is where SEC kicks in. He literally could walk across to the Texas A&M and go, hey, we got a problem with Hoglund. We're going to scratch him. We got to get Diamond ready, and he just got up.
I need 15 minutes.
And everyone associated with would have said, cool.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean, that would be the first thing you do is so that the kid for A&M doesn't get super hot.
Hey, you stop.
And calm down a minute. We got an issue.
Yeah.
But literally, and because, frankly, Chase, this is where it gets even less excusable.
Mm-hmm.
You're the visiting team. You're going to go hit. While you hit, Diamond could get warm. The more I talk myself through it, the more I come to it was an egregious error to start him.
Yeah, I got nothing. I mean, I there's no argument against that at all. Look, the kid, if it is a severe injury, again, I don't know, so I'm just throwing disclaimers.
Sure.
out. It was going to be in a severe injury prior to last night, and
right.
I'm not removing fault. I'm more saying from a professional prognosis standpoint, Gunnar Hoglund was going to be dealing with whatever Gunnar Hoglund is going to be dealing with moving forward anyway. I mean, pre-draft physicals, even if you got through the season, if something's there. A couple of years ago, first-round picks, pitchers, like half of them have had Tommy John. Major League Baseball is not scared off by Tommy John at this point in any stretch of the imagination. Now, teams can use it to make him fall a little bit. He can lose some money in this deal. There's no doubt about that. But it's not wrecking his signing bonus completely. It's not wrecking his professional career by any point that he has this, whatever this ends up being. In some ways you want it to be if it is even a severe elbow injury, you want it to be a very standard one where you just get the surgery that they've perfected down to a science and you move forward with his professional career at that point.
Sure. I mean, because it's a 12-month deal. And so for him, what it means is let's say it's torn or it's partially torn, which is, you want my guess here?
Yeah.
He's got a partial tear of his UCL.
It would shock me if I heard complete tear. That would kind of amaze me at this point.
And frankly, on a partial tear, they're going to go do the surgery.
Oh, well, yeah. 100%.
Oh, we had a call. I'm sorry. Okay. Call back. The 601 number. Call back. I'm looking for it. I had it down. No, he won't come. The question Tyler has is if he should he get the surgery. Is he back next year, in your opinion? No, he's gone because he'll still be drafted in the first round.
Yeah, he's not falling all the way out of the top 30 or something.
No, if anything, Major League Baseball looks at this and goes, okay.
Do it now.
Yeah, let's – they'll draft him and put him under their protocols, and it's a team that maybe has a kind of a deep farm system with arms. And
sure.
Yeah, here it goes. Here's that call. Sorry. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, Buck.
Hey, what's up, Lo?
Hey, I just – can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Well, I hate it for Gunnar. I agree with Neal. I was just listening a little bit with what you guys are saying. I think it's got to be some sort of partial tear. Anytime you start having stiffness, inflammation, something's off. And I hate it for him. I'm curious, Chase, do you move and if it is a partial tear, I mean, that's it. He's done. But I guess my question is, do you move Doug up to Friday at this point, or do you try to go with Derek Diamond on Friday?
I leave Doug for a couple different reasons. A, he's very comfortable there. In any weekend series, Doug gives you the best opportunity to swing something. If you do get the win on Friday, you get to hand Doug the ball. And Doug is so mentally tough that if you lose a Friday, he doesn't really care. So he's still going to come out and not get bogged down, and he's going to move forward. And also think about, look, because I get annoyed by this with some people, is if you're in a regional, you either win the regional or you don't. It doesn't matter if you go 0-2 or 2-2 and you lose the regional. I would much rather have to beat the 3 with my other guy than I would have to beat, or the 4 or whatever, than I'd have to beat the 2 or the 1. You know what I mean? So, no, I want Doug against the most difficult team I'm going to play, knowing I've got to win the other games, but I'd rather win the other games against lesser opponents with somebody else, probably Derek at this point. I would actually put Derek in on Friday and let it roll.
Yeah, because in a regional, and that's what we're talking about at this point. In a regional, because you're going to be a 1 seed in a regional. There's no reason Derek Diamond can't line up and beat a 4.
Sure.
And at that point, you turn around
and hand
Doug the ball in a game that if you're going to win the regional, you got to win that game.
So you beat the 2 or the 3 with Doug.
And then you go with McDaniel. The problem multiple problems is that you lose an ace. And then the other thing that does is that it does eliminate Diamond as a bullpen arm, and he had become a bullpen arm over the last few weeks. He's no longer a bullpen arm. He's now one of your starters. It's going to make you, from a pitching standpoint, like today where they went with Wes Burton for 50-something pitches, whether you like it or not, whether you believe he can handle it or not, you got to hand him the ball and go for it.
Same for Miller, too. I thought he pitched really, really well.
He was sharp last night. He does well. Again, Mike is going to go to guys who don't walk people. That's what he does.
Well, I'm just curious, Chase, your thoughts on this, because, Derek Diamond's got a ton of velocity, but does he just not have as much movement as Gunnar does? What makes Gunnar so special? He's only 91, 92. But what is it?
Gunnar has more command than maybe anyone in the country. He puts it exactly where he wants to put it most of the time. That was the red flag last night. Gunnar's velocity wasn't off. His command was way off. That's what made Mike get freaked out. No, he puts it anywhere he wants with multiple pitches. Derek's off-speed has still got to get better. He has to place his off-speed better where it's not just, hey, I'm going to throw a slider in the dirt and maybe you swing at it. He's got to throw it for strikes. Look, Derek's still learning how to pitch. In a lot of ways, Derek, it's a different skill set, but there are things mentally, there are things in their games that Derek reminds me of Gunnar as Gunnar as a freshman, because Gunnar as a freshman is not Gunnar today by any stretch of the imagination. He's much better. Look, Derek's got all the physical tools in the world. He's just still learning how to pitch. He's still learning how to pitch at this level, and he's got to keep fine-tuning the off-speed stuff, and he gets the fastball up in the zone. Derek gives up a lot of home runs. That's kind of the next maturation for him, is to keep the ball in the ballpark and be able to kind of pitch off balance a little bit.
Yeah, and one other thing I wanted to touch on, Neal, you had made kind of came up in the message board talking about tiny ball and overuse and where these guys are now learning how to throw hard and just putting so much stress on the arm. I guess Chase, question you too, and Neal, just thoughts. Going through, did he feel like 120 at one point? Was it Auburn, or I can't remember who it was. Did he feel about 120? I know he's gone over 100 a couple of times. It used to be like, you got to 100, that's it. You're out. Is that something that maybe these coaches should start doing? I know that you got a guy that's 85, 90 pitches. You want to not have to go to your pen, but maybe there should be a limit.
Yeah, so this is it's a great question. First of all, it's several things. Number one, not all arms are built the same. Just like all of our bodies aren't exactly the same. That being said, if you talk to pro people, especially, they love college arms. They've gotten to pitch in really good environments. They've been, for the overwhelming most part, they're taken care of. Their workload is monitored. All of those things. Their one criticism, and it's very valid, when they say, would you rather have a kid as a major league franchise, would you rather have a kid in your system the whole time or in college the whole time? Their one criticism of the college game is this. That single high A game at South Bend, nobody gives a damn who wins. And so when a kid gets to, say, 65 pitches, they had a plan. Hey, the plan tonight is 65 pitches. We're going to work on fastballs, and we're going to work on your breaking stuff. We're not throwing any sliders. Okay, well, he might give up 5 runs on 8 hits, and they're thrilled to death with what they got out of him. You don't get that at the college level. At the college level on Friday night, Gunnar Hoglund needs to win because guys like us and guys like you are on message boards, and we're talking about it and writing about it, and we're firing the coach, and we're firing the pitching coach, and we're firing everybody, and so it's a different pressure. And then the other thing, the club thing, the travel ball thing, man, we're here in Oxford, obviously, and so I'll go out, to Carson very often has soccer practice on Sunday afternoons. I can't remember the last time that ballpark wasn't packed on a Sunday afternoon in the spring, or frankly in the fall. And you see these kids, and they're throwing year-round. And not only are they throwing as hard as they can. And the game has changed a little bit. The game has become a strikeout game. The game has become a launch angle game. It's become a home run game.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder about the way – look, Gunnar Hoglund didn't hurt his arm last week. If Gunnar Hoglund has a hurt arm, it's happened over the course of time. And it's just showcase ball. It's fall ball where they're throwing as hard as they can. Not at the college level, at the high school level. It's
Specializing in one sport, especially for youth, is the dumbest thing you can do.
I hate it.
Especially, yeah.
I hate it.
Every athlete, every major league athlete will tell you, go play everything. And it's really happened in the last 10 to 15 years. It's like the specialization of sports, and baseball for me is absolutely worse. I've seen, obviously several kids that come up that probably could have been college pitchers. But thankfully they're on now. You got high school kids having Tommy John now.
This is going to come across as a criticism, and I don't mean for it to. And listen, I can do this because my son doesn't play baseball and hasn't played baseball competitively in, I don't know, what's been 5 years, Chase?
Yeah, sure.
So I can say this about, you can't make the high school team in Oxford unless you, and it's not because it's a prerequisite, but because the skill level's so high. You can't make a high school team unless you're playing year-round baseball.
Yeah,
and that's become
that's most high schools.
And I'm using Oxford because Oxford's kind of your all-American sort of town. It's this way everywhere.
Same way,
yeah, exactly. And so what happens is, instead of a kid kind of developing a little later and becoming a player and still having a lot of juice in the arm, these kids have been like, I don't know Gunnar's story. I don't know him, but I'm going to guess he's like most other kids. He's been pitching and playing pretty much baseball only since, what?
Yeah.
11, 12 years old?
Yeah, probably.
And so think about just the number of pitches that he's thrown.
Yeah. I know Derek played a lot of sports, but I don't really know what Gunnar's done or not done.
I'm just curious, did Scott Little, Chase, did he have Tommy John?
No, he had a shoulder capsule issue. It was all shoulder from that slider cutter he threw.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was
much
different.
I appreciate you guys so much for what you do, and keep up the great work.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate you. Yeah, Scott's deal was more the way he threw, and
so much tension on that.
So much torque, and you knew he was going to get hurt.
The first time I kind of got a little bit of a baptism from a journalism standpoint is I had Yankees people about why he got popped so low in the draft, and it pissed everybody off, but it was right. He had MRI issues that had completely bottomed out his signing bonus at that point.
I can remember watching him pitch and thinking, that's not sustainable. He's damn good.
Oh, no.
It's
when he was on, it was the craziest you've ever seen.
The ball did things that nobody else could make the ball do, but there was a reason.
Because he had other pitches, but you got a straight fastball, and you're like, oh, what's that?
There was a price to pay.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. We'll find out more on Monday. Just every sign looks a certain way. That's all at this point. You've been around this long enough.
I'd be surprised if it's
not major.
Yeah.
And when I say major, I mean something that is season defining. Again, his prognosis eventually is fine. I have no issues about that.
Oh, yeah, sure. He's going to be a major league pitcher. I hope it's nothing. I hope he's got just a pulled forearm muscle.
Well, that would mean, look.
And is it possible? Sure.
That he just had two separate weird things. It's possible.
It's possible that it is a coincidence. But if you're a big believer in coincidences, God bless you.
Okay. Yeah.
Not saying.
But we'll see.
And just... it's like there was a thread on the board earlier today about, guys back in my day. And my response to it was, you're right. But guys back in your day, look, Nolan Ryan threw 101 miles an hour, 99, 98. There's 15 of those cats in the bigs now. Jacob deGrom's throwing 101 the other day. Lots of guys throw super hard because that's what they do.
The low 90s, high 80s middle reliever is dead. Everybody's 94 to 96.
You
now.
don't even see the loogie anymore.
No.
That guy comes in throwing 98 miles an hour.
Yeah.
With a hammer.
Bodies are better. Conditioning is better. To max out performance, at least.
To max out performance in the moment.
Yeah, right.
Right. But you don't see the guy who pitches 15 years in the major leagues throwing 91 miles an hour. Much. I mean, it happens, but it's not routine.
No, it's get in, make some cash, do the best you can, and when it tears up, you're done.
Yeah.
When it tears up the second time, you're done.
Yeah, air it out and get the contract. And Nolan, and Blake makes a good point here. Nolan Ryan's a unicorn. I mean, there's a reason we're still talking about Nolan Ryan all these years later.
Yeah, during his era.
Yeah.
But, I mean, look, Tommy Johns are probably up, but, I mean, they're not up that much. I mean, I wrote my first Tommy John story for covering Ole Miss in, 2008, and half the damn roster had it. I mean, this has been around for a while. I mean, I'm 37 years old, and I'm telling you I had it in high school. I mean, it's not new. We're creatures of the moment a little bit and go, oh, what's worse now? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, it's more common from the standpoint of returning now.
Well, that's the deal. There was a day where that was a career ender, and that day's long gone. Now it's pretty common, and you get the surgery, and a year later you're back, and in many cases throwing harder because they've perfected the rehab.
Yeah.
To the day. Literally, they'll give you
your day of return.
They'll give you a calendar to follow, and if your arm is like most other arms, it recovers in a certain way, and you're back. Yeah, Nolan Ryan probably played every sport there was to play. I don't know. It's just different. I mean, I'm not a giant, and I'm not a giant fan of. You got to be. There are travel programs that are great. There are travel programs that are. It's like anything else in life. There are travel programs that are great, that are built on development, that are built on, especially when they're little.
Frankly, they need a certain level of depth so that one kid's not getting constantly asked to do something.
Yeah, where they are strict about pitch counts and about stuff, and they're not focused on, let's go win this 10-year-old title, boy. I can't.
You get a lot of rings these days.
Yeah, they're not focused on that, because as the kids get older, the kids get real competitive, and so it's up to the adults to go, hey, we have to balance this out. But there are travel programs that are abusive. Simple as that. That's undeniable. And that's the word. Yeah. It's abuse. Anything else come out of the call today? I know it's a really cool moment with Tim Elko.
Yeah, we talked to Tim. I'll write that at some point, probably Monday or Tuesday. There's bigger fish to fry at the moment. He said running's getting better. I mean, there's still the hope that he could DH at some point prior to the season being over. He said he's moving around better now than – he said there's literally no pain at all in a swing, none. He said he feels completely fine swinging, which is kind of a shock to everybody, frankly. We talked about Doug, but nothing earth-shattering whatsoever.
Doug was Doug.
Doug was Doug.
Yeah.
He got really hot around the third inning and sat down how many ever in a row, and he gave you a chance to win because that's what he does. He competes and gives you a chance to win. Talked to Doug, talked to Nikhazy, talked to Mike. Mike reflected on 800 wins a little bit, but he's never going to do that full circle in the middle of a season. It's not time for it.
Was today 800?
Today was 800 at Ole Miss, 900 overall. He won 100 at McNeese State prior to the Rebels. Hired June 7th, 2000.
It's a ton of wins.
Yeah. Whatever year it is, that's how many seasons Mike has been at Ole Miss. No, that's pretty much it. They will throw Drew McDaniel tomorrow. He talked a lot about being happy with, that seventh inning. They didn't just get one big hit. They got the 3 or 4, kept resetting.
Harris had a really big hit.
He mentioned that specifically. Yeah. And that allowed them to sit Broadway today and not have to do that. So it gives them so much more of an opportunity tomorrow. That was the key inning, not just to extend, but to set you up for the series.
So tomorrow they obviously have McDaniel starting. They have Broadway available full go. Who else is kind
3
of there?
or 4 probably for him. And you could see Miller maybe for a minute tomorrow. Going to be careful with that, but I think that's a possibility. And frankly, the goals tomorrow is to get 5 out of McDaniel, and then you've got at least 3 out of Broadway, and he's done 4. I mean, I think it's barring some second inning, got to figure this thing out. Mike would like this to be a kind of a 2-man show tomorrow, and then see how it goes. That's the goal.
A win tomorrow from just a record standpoint. Throw the other stuff out. 15-9 puts you in fantastic shape.
The record's fine.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with their record. Even
15-9 is you're cruising.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. Jackson Kimbrell was a little better on Tuesday. Maybe they try to get an inning. Look, they need another left-handed option, and Kimbrell is the option for that. So I'm curious. We'll see what he looks like the next time.
I'm going to guess Jacob deGrom's not throwing for Texas A&M tomorrow.
They're TBA, but I'm assuming not. Everybody is available to some extent other than Wes Burton and probably Jack Doherty.
Yeah.
Everybody else is there.
Burton's certainly not available.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah,
So, he's done.
He's going to the Texas A&M beer party tonight.
Yeah.
Or he should if he doesn't.
Right.
All right, we're unless a couple of you guys call, we're going to call this a wrap. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 o'clock. We'll start a little before then. I think the plan, just because we owe a show, I think Carson and I at noon tomorrow are going to do Chasing the Ring for about 45 minutes, and then I'll just leave the stream open. I'll have the different screens built, and we'll just go straight into this one and go from there. Or I'll do some stuff on the fly. It won't really matter. You get to see how the sausage is made. It won't matter a bit. All right, so we'll do that. Thanks to everybody for your patience today with my schedule. And Ole Miss wins 12-7, the rubber game of the series tomorrow at 1, and we'll be here with you for it. Again, thanks to The Rogue. It's therogue.com. They've got a great selection of fine men's clothing from casual up to formal. So get in touch with them in Jackson, 4450 I-55 North, or at therogue.com. For Chase, I'm Neal. Talk to you tomorrow.